Hello, welcome to my summer 2020 deck collection video. So these are the decks that I will be working with through the summer into 2021. They are decks that I feel fit that summer energy in one of three ways. They're either aesthetically very summery, they have a lot of summery colors, bright, vibrant colors, or they have a lot of fire energy or a lot of water energy, which I associate with summer, or otherwise a very active energy or even slightly masculine energy, because I do associate that with summer as well. Or when reading with them, the messages speak to summer and they speak to life in summer. So I'm here in Australia. We're moving now from spring into summer, and it is a very volatile time of the year. We have, a lot of highs and lows. We have a lot of joy with the holidays over December, going on summer picnics, going to the beach, swimming, bushwalking, lighting fires, at night when it's safe to do so, eating a lot of fruit and seafood. Those are part of the joys of summer. But then on the other hand, and what can sort of change at a dime, is that we then experience the horror and the devastation of bushfire season. So a deck that can deal with that volatility, that can deal with that active, maybe even overwhelming energy and portrays that. Those are the sorts of decks that I reach for in summer. So to start things off, we have the Marielle. So the Marielle is definitely a very, very active deck. It is, a deck that I do work with year round. I do work with these decks all year round, by the way. These are not just decks that are only used in the summer. They are decks that I will use throughout the year, and I'll pull in other decks during summer as well, especially any new decks that I get, things like that. But I do like to sort of keep all these decks that I'm about to talk about in rotation, and the Marielle is, definitely one of them, and it is my first deck too. So I don't have a lot of watery decks, or, I don't own any decks with mermaids or anything like that in it. I'm looking at them for sure. But until then, probably the Marielle is my most watery deck, and the water energy in it is a very active water energy. But it also has a lot of fire energy too. A lot of masculine energy as well. And, in Australian summer, we do get quite a bit of a die-off as well of plants and trees. The water becomes scarce, and this does work very well with kind of that contemplation of almost a Samhain type energy, even of going within and releasing whatever needs to be released, and adjusting to those cycles of life. So a lot of things bloom and grow and such, but then there is the fire and the die-off and the heat, and there's loss too during summer. So this deck definitely deals with that on an elemental level, and it has such an active kind of water energy. Water in this deck is not a calm suit by any means. It's a fiery one. And this deck will really, it'll walk with you through the highs and the lows of summer. So it's definitely my first pick, and one I would recommend. The next deck is one of my most used decks of 2020. It is the Playful Heart Tarot. The Playful Heart, aesthetically works super well. There are so many lovely bright colors in the deck. So much joy. It's a deck that I've used throughout spring and I'm now using into summer. I see it as being both a spring and a summer deck. And it's a very cute deck. But the cuteness is not, you know, doesn't reduce the meaning at all. It doesn't hide from the fact that, you know, there are hard things in life. It shows the joy and it shows the happiness and, you know, even brings up feelings of nostalgia and memories of childhood, but it doesn't hide away from or gloss over those times of grief and loss and struggle that we all have in our lives. And as such, it does suit summer. It does suit that high energy season. And it's a deck that I've actually done a lot of shadow work with, which I'll probably talk about in another video. But again, you know, summer is a time where I do very hopeful, very optimistic readings, but I also, you know, need to take that time to see what, you know, we need to learn from within. And this deck is definitely powerful enough to do that. So that is the Playful Heart Tarot. Cute, but powerful. Next deck is another cute deck, the Magic Neko Oracle. This is by Stasia Burrington. I'm beginning to say the names. So the Mary L is by Marie White. The Playful Heart is by Kitten Chops. And this deck is by Stasia Burrington. And it comes with this guidebook. So the card backs. And this again is another very cute deck. And like the Playful Heart, the cuteness doesn't block you intuitively. The cuteness instead kind of opens your heart to the message of the card, lowers those barriers and allows you to sort of look at things with fresh eyes, and encourages hope. It encourages hope, it encourages dreaming and aspiration, but it also acknowledges when, you know, when there is hard things, when there is struggle, just like the Playful Heart. This deck does that as well. And it's a very simple deck, but each simple image has so much meaning. So here we have, you know, this is how I would read it if I pulled this card for a self-care pull. We have a hairless cat and he's surrounded by an abundance of flowers. So here's a cat who some might say is, you know, some might say some mean things about it, but here it is, you know, feeling pretty cute about himself and, you know, loving himself and being at one with nature. And, you know, if he can, then you can too. So there's definitely, you know, a super cute vibe in this deck, and just really allows you to accept, you know, sometimes something has to die for something new to grow and for a regeneration to happen around you. So each card, it's very simple, but this is a really nice card for those pulls, especially when you are low on energy and you just want, you know, something to tell you, a message of comfort or something that you need today. This deck, you know, this deck will do that for you. Go have a cuppa. Love that card. So that is the Magic Neko deck. The next deck is, if you've seen my last video, you'll probably know it. It is the Enchanted Woods Petite Lenormand Oracle deck. And this deck is by, if I can find the name of the artist, by the creator of the Hardy Tarot on Etsy. And it is currently out of print, but that is a temporary closure. She will be opening her shop again after COVID, after you know, her business is able to resume. So hopefully the deck will be available shortly in the future. But this is the Enchanted Woods Lenormand, and I'm just going to try to kind of Oh, hope this isn't too bumpy. Just bring this right down so we can appreciate these gorgeous, gorgeous cards that are super detailed. Now, the reason I've chosen this for a summer deck is because of these card backs. I don't know if you're going to be able to pick up on the detail of that, but they're so detailed, and it's really the color pink. It gives me a very watermelon, bubblegum, summery feel to them. Really, really cute, and just screams, you know, that summer. And the black and white with that hint of pink just evokes walking through the forest on a summer night. It's so lovely, and you feel like as you go through the deck, you're wandering through sort of these scenes and really experiencing everything that the forest has to tell you. And I love that. I really do. Like, every scene tells a story, and I feel like the stories are very interconnected. And there's so much detail on every card as well. So this is perhaps a calmer summer deck, not a more active one, but definitely reminds me of those summer nights, those summer walks that we have while, you know, the sun is slowly setting, and experiencing, you know, what there is to experience. So that is the Petite Lenormand. The Golden Rider is definitely a very summery deck, a very vibrant and active deck. There's, I think, a lot of both masculine and feminine energy in this deck, and the colors, you know, really clash and go, but also go together really well. So there's that really aesthetically kind of reminds me of that volatility, and it's an RWS clone. You know, it's got everything that the RWS has, so you can see in it, you know, all the messages that are just there straight up. It'll tell you it like it is. No messing around, nothing like that. It is just a really kind of straight and true reader, which, you know, of course also acknowledges some of the loss that summer can bring, and that, you know, that devastation, literally the fire that summer will bring, but also hope, and also the vibrancy and the joy. It's all there in the deck. The 70s colors really do give me that feeling of nostalgia. It's of, you know, spending summers at your grandma's house and everything she had there, all of that. It's all there in the deck. And even you know, I guess the twist on it, perhaps from the traditional RWS, is that even when there are cards of loss, of ending, you see in the distance this hope, this renewal that is there in the horizon, that if you can just get through this hurdle, you can move forward. And that's, there's little twists like that in the background, I think, with the colors, you know, of every deck, like of every card. Even the Three of Swords, God, word salad today. Three of Swords, you know, you've got this darkness, and then you've got this eerie red glow. So, you know, beneath that pain, beneath that hurt, you know, is what's keeping you in that place. Anger, like a kind of vengeful glow. I don't know, but yeah, it's interesting. Or, you know, the Page of Wands, and he's kind of contemplating going on the journey, you know, becoming the knight in the next card, and he's in Egypt. He's got the pyramids behind him, and then he's got the sunrise. He's got the new dawn, the beginning of his new creative or passionate adventure is symbolized there. So, you know, there's a lot of the fact that the sun, you know, rises earlier and sets later, and we get to sort of experience that more in the summer. That really, really fits with all the sunset and sunrises in this Golden Rider. The next deck. Again, very hard to find, out of print. I understand if you don't want to see it, I apologize. I did talk about it in the last video. It is the Delta Enduring, and this deck is just a quintessential summer deck. You know, I can't think of a deck that talks about life during summer better than this one. You can see from the card backs how powerful and active that energy of it's a reversed, a mirrored image of the Delta region, the area that Egan, you know, created the deck about. And all the colors she's chosen are like, it's like looking at almost like a negative, like a negative Polaroid of it, and just seeing its energy. And again, you do get a lot of in this deck, a lot of reference to the seafood, and it does very much remind me of my own childhood, you know, fresh seafood, fresh oysters, pippies, finding these things, you know, watermelons, it's all there. Like it speaks to the messages in the deck, I think, are there for you year round, but the atmosphere, so much so, like the red, all the reds in it, and obviously very, very powerful with Black Lives Matter. You know, it speaks on many levels, but for summer, it definitely has that humidity, that sticky heat of summer, that volatility, and the night scenes as well somehow really evoke that hot summer night, and when you can't sleep and you're getting nightmares and things like that, and even just the ecosystem, very, very coastal inspired. Definitely a deck that calls out to be used during the summer. So those are my choices for the summer of 2020. These are the decks I'll be using, amongst others, but the ones that I'll probably be leaning on the most. What decks are you using this season? If you're in Australia, are you using any of these summer decks or different ones? Or if you're in the Northern Hemisphere and you're watching this video, hopefully this gives you an idea or two, a bit of inspiration about what you might use in your summer next year. Or let me know down below the decks that you're using in autumn and winter, and you know, give me some inspiration for my upcoming autumn and winter season. So that's all for now. See you in the next video. Bye.